So I'm just going to try to get rid of one of the many things I have in my list of things to do. It's causing me paralysis of analysis, and it's the switch for the alarm, the anti-tamper switch. And get the darn thing open. It doesn't appear that they provided me with a nut to hold it on with. One of my previous videos, I showed you the remains of one of these. Okay, it's got a little button on the side. That button gets pushed in against the key cylinder in the fender, and all it does is, as long as that button is pushed in, the circuit between those two terminals is open. And if somebody uses a slide hammer and pulls that key cylinder out, this button gets released, completes this circuit, and it makes a ground so that the alarm goes off. I debated on whether I was going to put that in or not, but I decided to do it. What I'm first going to do is I've got this might be hard to get it all in the frame at the same time. I've got the ohm meter set up. 1 means it's an open circuit, and I've got my leads here, and if I connect these two leads, I get a resistance reading, meaning the circuit is closed. So I'm going to hook these up to the switch just to test it before I put it on. Come on. These clamps are a little bit difficult to deal with. So right now I do not have that button pushed, so I have a reading on the ohm scale, meaning that the lock would have been tampered with and the alarm would go off. When this is installed, I need to have it so that that switch right there is pressed. And as long as that is pressed, the circuit's open. You tamper with the lock and release that, the alarm goes off. So that's how it works, and that's how I'm going to be able to test it once it's in the car. Once I install it and I have pressure on that switch, the circuit should be open. So we know that the switch works. I'll be able to install it. There's a little bracket here. I can undo this. This bracket, you notice it has a flat in it. It goes onto that switch, and it holds the button in alignment with the lock cylinder, and these two flats ride in the bracket that it goes into up under the fender well. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show that, so that's why I'm showing it to you now. And then this is the bolt that was on the original, and you notice it's loose, so it wasn't holding anything. It's all stripped. That's being plastic, we can't tighten this too tight. We've just got to make it snug enough so that it doesn't move. I'll have to cut this because I can't get it off of here. It won't unthread, but I'll have to cut this plastic and get the nut off. And I'll put it up under there, install it so that that switch is pressed by the key cylinder, and then I'll check those two leads to make sure that they're open. So there's the slot that this thing goes into, right up there. Okay, my finger's about 1.5 feet away from it, but on the camera it looks like it's close. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that in the camera while I put the switch in, and I've got the leads on the switch. I've determined that the switch has to go in from the top, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to put it in and keep those wires on. It's going to be tough, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it in the frame. And this is the plug that goes onto that switch. It's got a white wire and a black wire, and the white's the power, the black's the ground, and when that switch is closed, it sets off the alarm. So I have to lift it down a little bit to even attempt to reach. I'm trying to find a better spot for light so that I can maybe shed some light on it and actually reach it. It's going to be tough. Just find it. Fiberglass car, it's tough to find something metal to stick the magnetic light on. That might work, but I'm afraid I'm going to be in the way of the light once I try to get my hand up there to work on it. So I'm going to have to lower the car a bit. I'm going to shut the video off and then try to reframe it once I get the lift done to where I can reach that thing. Okay, I'm going to try to video this. I've determined that this thing goes in from the top, and that the little metal bracket goes in on the top of it, I think. And hopefully I can reach this up there and get it into place without knocking those leads off the wire, so that I can actually test to make sure that it's on there correctly. I can't see whether I've got my arm in the way of the camera or not, but I suspect I had it in the way. knocking my light down. Okay, too much stuff up in there. I'm going to shut the camera off and unfortunately have to do this off camera and then report back. I believe I just remembered what I did to take that thing off is there's a couple of 7/16 head, it looks like, bolts holding this windshield washer reservoir on, and I think I left the one in at the top. There's one up the top where the filler neck is. I believe I left that one in, took the other two out, and it dropped out of the way enough without emptying it to get in there and see and feel what you're doing a little bit better. So I'm going to go get a wrench to take that off and see if that helps. Okay, I lied that those bolts have a 3/8 inch head on it. I'm going to try and video this. We'll see if it works or not. And I'll either leave it in the video or cut it out if it's worthless. Okay, here we go. One thing nice not having a battery in the car, you don't have to worry about shorting anything out. I may have done that by leaning over the fender and just feeling around for it when I took it off. I don't know. No, I think I'm on the head of the nut. There's a bolt. It's one of those self-tapping type screws. What I'll do to put it back in there, I got it. What I'll do to put it back in is I'll stick the head of that bolt into the socket by putting some paper in it or something in the socket. You know what, I think I am going to have to take that one off up at the top. Let me move the camera over and show where that one is. Right up there. So I know I only put those in finger tight when I put it back together because I knew I had to retighten those bolts, but sometimes you put them in finger tight and you can't get them out. At least that's been my experience. You need a wrench. And a little thumb ratchet. At least that's what I call it. It's just a little circle with a ratchet head, no handle on it. So okay, that's gonna be done. See how far I can get it out of my way without having to empty the thing. Probably gonna need 2 hands for this. And I can't turn it upside down since it's still full. Okay. Better get my hand up there so I can see where I'm trying to aim. There we go. Now we got some good light on it. And I may be able to move this back. Move that out of the way. That's a drain from something. Maybe. I don't know what off the top of my head, but I need to push that up out of the way or something to have visibility. Okay. I still show connectivity on the ohm meter. And if I press the button, I show an open circuit. So I'm going to try to get this in. Oh, yeah, that was what I was afraid of. I lost the wire. It's going to be tough to test that unless I can get that wire back on. I think I can see it when it's set like that. I should have checked what size that nut was. I believe it's a 9/16, but I can't be sure of that. Okay. So, oops, I must have bumped the camera out of the way. Okay, so right here, that's where it's screwed on. And if I can get my ohm meter connected again, I can see whether it has an open circuit or not. These little alligator clips are tough to work with. Okay, showing an open circuit right now. Just to test, I'm going to touch this other lead here. Make sure that my clips are working. They are. want to just put this in and hope it works. I want to be able to test it. Okay, that's showing that I've got connectivity. So I'm going to try to push in on this. Now, I unfortunately can't tell whether I just have connectivity because I've got these clamps touching. And now I don't have connectivity because one came off. I wish there was a open space on this connector that I could probe into, but I don't think there is. I'm going to shut the camera off and see if I can get those connected. Okay, I got them connected up there. You can just see the red on the top. The black one is to the side, but it's being blocked by this. And actually by you can see the tip of the connector right there. So now my task is going to be to see if I can push that in and make that loose connection by I just made it lose connection by bumping my wires. Okay, got it back. Now I'm going to try to push this in and depress that switch. Hope I have that switch on the right side of the button on the right side of the switch. Can't seem to get it to go in. Just knocked a wire off. Okay, I'm going to shut the camera off, play with it some more. Okay, I should have done this a long time ago. I made myself 2 leads that I have just a regular spade, female spade connector on, And that will allow me to put this up there without alligator clips falling off. Those things weren't working very well. And on the other side I have alligator leads, or not alligator, but spade connector leads, female, and the pins, the pins for the ohm meter go right into those one side, and they make a good connection and they stay. So once I get this hooked up, turn the ohm meter on. Nice. So now I have, I think, a reliable connection on my ohm meter. And if I can get it put up in there and connected, I decided I'm going to use a flat washer on the bottom of that as well, so I have to go get that. I forgot to bring it over. Okay, I hope I don't get in the way too much, but at this point I shouldn't have to worry anymore about those clips falling off. That was being a pretty major hassle. So let's see if I can get this up here without getting in the way of the camera too much. The question is, do I have that plate in position properly? The one that sticks in that groove to keep it straight. Plate's in there, but I'm not sure that it's holding the switch the way I want it to. There, now it is. I know I'm blocking the camera now. Still showing my connection, so that's a good thing. I just knocked one of those connectors off. can't get that to shut off. I must not be pressing that button. I'm going to get a wrench and see if I can tighten that a little bit, see if that brings it into the button. I had to take it back down again because I was struggling with what the orientation of the thing had to be. So in looking at that tab right there on the switch and how it fits in relation to the actual button on the switch where you put it. That button is in line with that tab. So when I'm looking at the thing up there in position, I should have one on the left. That should be, I should be looking on the thin side of it, and the one on the right, I'm looking at the fat side of it. So now I know for certain that's how it's got to go in. Let's try this again, because I was able to get it to intermittently break the connection, but it was really intermittent. So I think I've got it in there right. I get my washer on it. And this time I'll be able to know for sure that I've got those tabs pointing in the right direction, or the terminals pointing in the right direction, because before I didn't really know for certain. Okay, so now it's up in there, and I have a connection, meaning that button is not pushed. So I gotta just press that in. There it. Broke the connection. My wires are still both on it. Need to try to back it up just to make sure that I didn't somehow mess up the, nope, I didn't mess up the meter. So I've got the connection broken. I'll try to get a wrench on that and tighten it. Unfortunately, there's no way of testing this without taking the key out, and I don't want to do that. That'd be an even more difficult job than this. Okay, I still don't have a connection. That's good. I don't want to tighten that too much and strip that, because that would be bad. So that actually seems to be working. I don't think I can guarantee it, because you know, all I can tell is for certain, and let me point this to the meter. All I can tell for certain is that, if I can find the meter in the frame here. On my meter, I'm showing a 1, which means I have an open circuit. So now all I'll do is I'll reach up in there, if I can find the dang thing again, reach up in there and pull those 2 wires off. And I will take this wire here and plug it in. And let's see if I can figure out, that ought to be the orientation of it whenever I plug it in up there. There we go. Now, hopefully I didn't move that and break the or cause the switch to activate. But that should be it for the switch. Now, what I'll do is I'll put the window washer reservoir back in place. Gotta find my screws for it now. I know I had them. Well, I'll find them. They're here. Okay, I have 2 of the bolts holding the reservoir started. One is right there. One is up here. The third one's on the back, and you really can't get both hands in there. Can't even get one hand in there. So what I'm doing is I have an extension. I have put a piece of paper towel and then shoved the bolt head in. That'll hold it so that it won't drop out as I'm trying to reach around the back of that reservoir to get it started. So that should be about right. So if I can find the hole with this, which is, the hole is 4 or 5 inches back on the reservoir. And again, this is nice that there's no battery in the car. Okay, that is in the hole of the reservoir. And I think I found the hole that it screws into. So that's a useful way when you can't reach or see what it is you're going after. And I'm just going to use this little hand thing here, because this doesn't have to be super tight. The hand ratchet. I had to get it tight enough so that the ratchet would work. This one now should be pretty easy. I think that wire's in the way there. I'm going to raise the camera up. Well, I don't think I can. I think I'm at the limits of my extension on the this wire. I don't want to move. The screw is right there in back of it. I can see it easily. Maybe I should move the camera over this way a bit. There it is. Now you can see it right there. So I'll tighten that, and then I'll tighten the one up on the top, and this job will be done. It took much longer than I thought it would because of the alligator clips falling off until I came up with the plan to make jumper wires that would stay on. It was being a hassle, and I lost the original nut, but I was going to clean it off on the wire wheel. I tried to stick it in the vice grips to hold it, and when I stuck it in the vice grips, it jumped away, and I could not find that thing. I looked for it for too long. I don't know why I didn't just go get a replacement nut. It's not like I don't have 100 of them around here that would have probably fit it. You can see why this job is better done while I have the frame off. Actually, I think with the engine and everything in there, your access almost has to be from the top. It's not easy, but that's how I got it out. I had to break it off from up there because that nut that was holding it on, the old switch was stripped, and the nut that was holding it on wouldn't unthread. So there we have it. Another job off of my to-do list. I only have 3,472 now. It's a big job. But I'll enjoy it when it's done. I'll enjoy the car. And I do like working on cars, so, you know, if I didn't, this would be a daunting task. So, ooh, the light almost hit me. Oh, that's tight enough. We're done. Time to pack up the tools, put them in the toolbox, put them all where they belong so that I know where they're at when I need them. And head on up for dinner. Thanks for watching.